Let me ask you, do you think our sexual past matters? Do you think men and women's sexual past matter?
For a man, it doesn't, because men will be men. We all know men are just like just sexual creatures, innit? So that's never gonna change. For a woman, it definitely does matter.
Okay.
I believe that women. Okay, so I'm a Christian, right? And I study the Bible a lot. And obviously, men were made from dust. Women were made from a man's rib. So physically, we're kind of a bit more cleaner. Not to say in a rude way, but like the way I see it is,
men are gross, man. We are gross.
We're more valuable. Women are just more valuable in general. Even in Islam, I have a few colleagues who are Muslim, and they explain how, like, you know, the reason why they cover up the women so much is because women are generally that precious.
Yes.
So when you're just out here doing things, it just shows your lack of self-control. It shows poor decision making. It shows insecurity as well. And, you know, if a man sees a girl's just been out everywhere, who's to say when we're married, you get pissed off one day, you might not go to Larry across the street. So no, sexual past does matter a lot. And a lot of things, what's the word, soul tie as well. Soul tie is real, like, you can get attached to someone, literally. You can be, I know there's people I've had intercourse with, and then out of nowhere I can smell their scent. Like, it's a real thing. And they're not even in the room. So, you know, and you're passing that on to your partner. Like, a marriage should be sacred, just you and that person. Don't get me wrong, like, a girl will have a few partners, but too many, that's nah.
So what in your opinion is too many?
Too many is above 5. I feel like too many, like
above 5.
That's
quite low. I think most women have definitely hit above 5 nowadays.
Yeah, in this generation, the numbers are crazy. I have no girls that the numbers are crazy. But
what's the highest you've heard from a girl?
The highest I've heard from a girl was 22.
That's not even that high.
What have you heard?
I've heard over 100.
100?
Yeah. And this girl, she'd like cheated on every relationship. She was just not. Yeah, she was just out here.
100.
And do you know what the mad thing is?
What?
This girl that I'm talking about, she's very attractive. Guys would look at her, you would never know. You would never know.
So how did you find out? Did she just tell you? Or
I was dating one of her best friends.
Oh, really?
And her best friend told me.
It's always the girl.
And I was like, right. And then when we went out and I saw her energy in social environments, I was like, I can see that.
100.
100, yeah.
Her clit is gone. Her clit is not there.
Thing is, like, obviously we live in a very forward thinking time. So, like, you know, some people are very polygamous.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. But it depends on what values are important to you.
Yeah.
I
think women should definitely keep it sacred. Don't get me wrong, there's going to be times where you slip up. I know I've been in certain relationships and it's happened, but you should try your hardest to keep it sacred, because in the long run, let's be real, like, men don't want a girl that's been out there. So if a girl, you know, she doesn't care to settle down, then have a body count of 100. But if you know you do, then you need to control that, because no man, would you want to settle down with a girl that's had a body count of, like, what's like the peak for you? I want to know, like, for men, like, what is like too much?
Every guy is different. I'm quite liberal-minded in this sense.
Oh, really?
And I think I'm an actor, so I'm quite liberal-minded with a lot of things. Some things yes, some things no. Personally, for me, I would say as long as it's less than me.
So now can I ask you, what's yours?
Gentleman never tells. To be fair, I don't know. You know,
you don't know?
No, I do know.
Okay.
But I think I'm gonna out myself. I say anything less than me. Okay, it had to be. Let me rephrase. It'd have to be less than half mine.
Less than half of yours?
Yes, less than half.
Okay, so like, if you could give a number.
This is in no reflection of what my body count is.
Like,
but it'd have to be less. Let's say hypothetically, it has to be like less than 20.
Less than 20
for me to even consider serious.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I feel like that's pretty high. Most guys are like less than 3. And
I know. Like I said, I'm quite liberal.
So you're like okay with women, just you don't see it as like that's a bit downgrading for themselves, or you just like, do you know what, we live in?
It depends why. Like I'd have to know why. So if it was like, oh, she's had many different connections with different people, that's very different than, okay, like for example, I would rather personally I would rather choose the woman who has got a body count of 12, but she's dated them exclusively and she's just dated them like that, than a girl who's got a body count of 5, but 3 of those she cheated with the man that she was with.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So I would have to know why. If it was like crazy high, I would just want to know. If she was like, yeah, I was just having one night stands left, right, and center, I was like, probably not for me.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, that's my preference. Like if it's crazy high, but then like I said, at the same time, we live in modern times. I'm not going to pretend like we see sex everywhere. I'm not going to pretend that, you know, sometimes girls like to go and explore, right? And I say this to women that I coach, that okay, because what if a woman does have a elaborate sexual history, and she doesn't want to lie to a guy? What if he asks her about it or something? Which I just don't think you should ask, but some people do.
Why don't you think that? You think it's too personal?
I think there is no right answer.
What do you mean by that?
In a sense of, sorry, let me rephrase. I think the place in which somebody asks a lot of the time, it comes from a place of making a judgment. I'm not going to pretend and say that we don't make judgments, but I don't see how you could ask without it coming from a place of making a judgment. Does that make sense? I wouldn't directly ask. I feel like I can tell if a woman's got a high count.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So when it comes to like making a judgment, isn't a person allowed to make a judgment?
Of course they are. But I feel like it's like a girl asking how much a guy makes.
Oh.
It's like, well, why do you want to know? Is it because if I don't make enough, you're out?
Okay, yeah.
You'll be able to tell from my lifestyle and how I live my life, maybe the bracket that I'm in. Same with a woman.
Okay.
I don't think guys should directly ask, but you can tell by how a girl moves if she moves in that way.
But at some point they should. Do you feel like it? And when is the right time to? When they get to that stage?
Ask?
Yeah.
I don't think you have to ask.
You don't have to ask. Wow,
No.
you're very liberal. The liberal is really showing.
I think for me, because I like to think I'm I value emotional intelligence a lot. So if she's incredibly emotionally intelligent and she communicates in a certain way, I find that very attractive. Now, if she's had an elaborate history, like I said, the questions I would ask would be like, oh, like, have you ever cheated before?
Okay, yeah.
Or like, you know, would you like to? If she's like, oh yeah, I'm always in Ibiza and I'm always going there and just partying it up and having fun.
So
I'm like, okay, you're
questions that, you know, reveal.
I ask questions around it that indicate what the likelihood is.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So that's why women go when you meet a new man, your girlfriends, they don't say how much does he make, they say what does he do.
Oh yeah, that's
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you ask a guy, oh, what do you do? Okay, where do you like to go out? If he's like, oh well, I'm a lawyer for this top firm, I like to go out to members clubs and afternoon tea, blah blah blah, you're like, okay, he's probably, you know, he's probably earning more than 30k a year. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's how I'd ask, because I think, you know, I think you could still be a gentleman and find that out. And I think just saying, hey, what's your body count? Let me know so I can see how trustworthy you are. I think as a man, you don't need to ask that. There are ways to find that out without directly asking it.
I have one thing though. I feel like not being as direct with it, I think that's what's gonna lead women to still feel like it's okay. Because sometimes I agree with men that are like, what's your body count? Tell me now. And they make it a serious thing, because if not, women will continue to be very like liberated sexually, and I don't agree with women doing that at all.
Okay.
So like, for example, back in the day, it was kind of shameful to even have a body count of maybe above 2, because it's like you just submit to your husband.
Sure.
Why? Because your community would like put you down and let you know that's the wrong thing to do. But in this society, I feel like we're moving more towards men, you know, being more liberal about it and just being like, you know, it is what it is, let's accept it. And rather than just like putting their foot down and just saying this ain't it.
So here's the thing. I don't, contrary to what you think, I don't think anyone should be shamed for their sexual history.
Really?
Yeah. But I think we should understand what comes with the territory. So as a woman, if you have had a lot of sexual partners, what comes with the territory is that there'll be some men who will not take you seriously.
Yeah.
That's just what comes with it. I know you're saying about, oh, you should ask directly and get into it. But like I said, I think as a man, I think as a social, intelligent, emotionally intelligent man, you can tell.
Yeah. Okay,
And
then.
I can tell.
Okay. What can you tell with me?
Well, you told me you're a Christian.
Yeah.
You speak quite open and honestly. I mean, I literally asked you, what did you do today? You said you're coming from church. So I highly doubt your body count is somewhere in the 20s.
Yeah. Okay, then.
Do you see
You're
what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah.
Whereas if a girl's like, also, it's hard, but sometimes, our social media profiles as well.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
If a girl's got a social media profile where it's very sexual and then she's promoting her OnlyFans on there, you probably had quite a few sexual partners. And maybe that's an unfair judgment to make, but I mean, what we put out on social media is what we want other people to see.
Yeah. Funny enough, I was even having this conversation. Like when I first started out on social media, I just used to like receive any promo, anything.
Yeah.
And obviously what was like popular back then was like the Fashion Nova type look where like your skin showing everywhere.
Yes.
And that's where my pictures would get like the most engagement.
Yeah.
So my like profile picture was like, these Fashion Nova fits, boobs everywhere,
Yeah.
short skirts everywhere.
Yeah.
Sometimes I even had bikini pictures too.
Yeah.
And then I realized like the men that would DM me, it was just like very like sexual, like come see me or give me this and I'll pay you with that.
Yeah.
Or come link me, all of them things.
Yes.
And then like I used to get offended by it because I used to think like, who are you talking to? Like, and then one day I called my cousin and I asked her like, why are men speaking to me in this way? And she was like, isn't it obvious? I'm like, what is it? She was like, your Instagram.
Yes.
I'm like, no, it can't be. She's like, since it's your Instagram, it's pretty obvious like you're onto something. I'm like, but no, like, you know me, you know how I am, I'm smart and I'm intelligent. And she goes, yeah, but you're not showing that. So of course people are gonna say. So I archived all of those pictures, put them away, because I was not gonna let those pictures hinder me from like finding like something serious, because in the end that's what I want.
Yes.
So yeah, just wanted to give you that example to add to that.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, and rightfully or wrongfully so, it is true. If a guy sees a girl like wearing shorts and stuff, like I get there's like sexy, but I'm talking like sex. Like if she's putting, if every photo is her bending over and her cheeks are out or something like that, yeah, guys are gonna be like, okay, yeah, she's just advertising for sex. Do you know what I mean? And do you think women know that, or do you think? Because sometimes I have this conversation with women, they're like, oh, but a guy shouldn't blah, 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 blah. Like, he shouldn't look at that and just think that's what I'm all about. I'm like, yeah, but that is all you're showing. So do women actually know that them just having those kind of photos is they're only going to get that kind of attention? Like, guys are going to take them seriously? Or do they try and do they know and pretend that they don't? Or do they genuinely not know? And they're just surprised?
I think they don't know. I genuinely think they do not know.
Yeah.
It's either they don't know or they just don't care. Like some women, if you do something and you're being applauded for it and you're getting a lot of likes for it and people are paying you money for it, you're not going to think about the downfall of it at all. I think a lot of these Instagram girls, they don't see that it's anything wrong. Why? Because okay, maybe a rapper has reached out to her. Yeah, a rapper's reached out to you, but it's just for one thing, and that's just to get to your kitty. 100%. Or maybe you're getting paid. Yeah, you're getting paid, but like, would you want to have millions and no husband or children? So I don't think a lot of women know and really understand this. I'm happy I kind of learned this earlier, and I have a circle of people that are honest with me. Yeah, that's good. And I had to kind of like accept, like you said, the territory. This is what's going to happen, and I said this can't be my future. And plus, I'm sexy with or without clothes. So
she got it. You see her? She got eyes. She got it. She got it.
So yeah, a lot of women are just. I think a lot of modern women are naive, and this is why I was talking about like the firmness. Like I agree with men being a bit firm with women, because if no one's like on podcasts and saying these things, women are gonna continue to think that this is okay, and yeah, it's hindering you. And then again, if your path is to just be a social media baddie for the rest of your life, do you? But if you want to be taken seriously one day, you have to make those sacrifices, and archiving a picture is not going to hurt you.
Yeah. And I think in this sense, I kind of have a little bit of sympathy for women in this sense.
Really? Why?
Because they, like you said, if they're putting this stuff out, they're getting validation for it, opportunities for it, all of this stuff. So they are only ever getting positive reinforcement for that. It's only when they're older and later where the truth is, because everybody's looks fade over time, where she's not getting the same level of validation, attention, etc. She feels like she's competing with younger women to do that. But also because of her history and her past, guys don't want to take her seriously, or at least the men that she wants are unlikely to take her seriously. That's when they learn the lesson. But by then it's too late.
It's too late.
Whereas for guys, we learn very quick. Like reality hits us very early on and very hard. Be like, you're at the bottom of the pile, my guy. You don't have this, or this. Like if we don't have our, physique on point, our confidence on point, our money on point, all of these things, our charisma, our intelligence. If we don't have that, we don't get women. We don't get opportunities. We don't connect with, quote unquote high value men. We don't join that network. So in that sense, it's almost life is better to guys because we're hit with it early on. And at that point, we can either decide to change it or we just accept it.
100%.
It's a difficult battle. It's a harder battle for men, but at least we know it early on. With women, if they don't learn it early like you have, most learn it too late.
Way too late. And that's a lot of the thing I'm scared of with these Instagram girls. They're gonna be, in their 40s, tattoos, fillers, BBLs, money, but like no one taking them seriously. No kids, no home, no stability. And is it really gonna be worth it? But at the same time, as much as I feel sympathy for them, at the same time I don't, because it's like information is free. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm the type of person where I am a very like information. I read books. I listen to a lot of people like Candace Owens. I think it was Candace Owens that really opened my eyes. She was like online and she was saying like, men don't want this. Like, why would you want your ass cheeks out? Like, she said it so firmly and I was like, is she talking to me? So in one sense I feel sorry for them, because it's like, if you don't know if you're being applauded, then you will never know. But at the same time, information is free. Your mum can tell you, the Bible will tell you. The Bible is very big on, not giving into short-term satisfaction and always trying to look at the bigger picture here. So I do feel sorry for them, but at the same time I don't.
I hear that. You're right. The information's out there. The information's out there if you want it. Do you some guys would say, that often when they express what they like in women, what they don't, often they're called misogynistic, toxic, all of this stuff. So I think some guys say that information, but it's met with a lot of backlash. And like, you heard it from Candace Owens. So is there an element of, because you heard it from a woman, it made you receive it differently? Because you're like, well, she's obviously on my side as a woman, so if she's not going to be saying this to try and impress me. She's going to be saying this because this is what she thinks. So it's kind of like, why do you think women fight against men when they express what it is that they like and they don't like, if that doesn't apply to them? Instead of being like, okay, if that's what you like, then either be that or I don't, and I don't get you, that's fine. I
feel like there's this push from the media to be against men. Like, you can just hear it with the terms sassy, soft. There's, I don't know what it is, but there's just this push. Maybe it's the feminist movement that started it. That's a whole different story for a different day. But there's this push to be against men and not take. I feel like women feel like men stating their opinions is almost as though men are trying to like lock them up and stop them from being free.
Right.
And in my mind, I'm just like, but wouldn't you prefer to have someone who loves you and is trying to protect you from like, these predators in the world than to just be like free and liberal and out there and just in harm's way? So I think the reason why women refuse it is because they see it as men trying to stop them from being free and having freedom and all of that. But it's like, is this freedom really worth it? So that's how I see it.
No, I think that's a really good point. I think it's almost like, it's not even that. I don't even think it's just men trying to stop them from being free, but I think it's just men expressing that, look, we value women who exercise this discipline. Some for very selfish reasons, but we're all selfish creatures, right? The man that you choose, you don't want him to be in a relationship with another woman because you're like, I want him for me. Do you know what I mean?